So much ginger.
Lots of ginger. It's that fancy ginger beer, though. You know, we should get the alcoholic ginger beer.
Yeah. Yes, we should. We'll just have to change the name of the drink to Kicks Like a Mule.
That's right. I like that.
Yeah.
Kicks Like a Mule.
Maybe a Kicks.
You know what we should do is come up with a Ghostacles drink.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then when we go to drink, we'll hold the cup and go, it's Ghostacles time.
It's Ghostacles time. Like you're doing right now.
I am, because it is, in fact.
Ghostacles time.
Ghostacles time.
I need to compose like a little ditty for that. Like,
I know. I know. We should. We should.
There it is. There's your ditty.
I like it. That's it. Done. Sold. And scene. So today is a good day.
It is a good day. Mother Nature has not brought her wrath down upon us like last time.
It's just a gentle rain.
Gentle cleansing rain.
A cleansing
Nearly
rain.
a thunderbolt.
No, it didn't. It didn't do much at all but water the plants, which was fantastic.
They need it. It's so muggy outside now, too, but I don't mind it so much. I'm used to the mug.
I went on a run this morning, and it was pretty awful. It was before...
on a mug run?
I went on a mug run. Yeah, it was... I guess it had just rained, and then the heat started coming through. It was at 6:15 in the morning, though, so you'd think it wouldn't be... And it's not until the summer that 6:15 is still 85 degrees. But it was just so muggy. And then by the time I got back and then grabbed the girls and we went to go get breakfast real quick from the Starbucks, it was cooled off. And I was like, I know it's not just because I'm sweaty. Like, the temperature has cooled off, and this is some bullshit. But anyway, so we're going. It's Ghostacles.
We're going. All right. Are you going first?
No, you are.
I'm going first. Oh, okay. Well, this is a good one to start with because this is from Allie and Bere? From Mexico. Bere. I like Allie and Bere.
There's a reason you got that one. And it's because I didn't want to have to pronounce that name.
Oh, you clever shrew.
I am.
Ali and Bere, and I hope I'm saying your names correctly, forgive me if I'm not, this is just a comment, but also a small story. We recently discovered your podcast, and it has been really fun and nice. Aww. We listen to it in the afternoons while working and doing homework. It is the nicest and has spawned intense, deep conversations into the occult between us. Basically, we just wanted to say thank you, and we love you. Aww, we love you too, because you've made our afternoons really joyful. More so since recently our dog, Pepper, died. It was sad and sudden, but we've been experiencing stuff since. We buried her in the garden outside, where our other two dogs live, Melody and Gypsy. They are way older than Pepper, and she kind of sparked a light for them. So the following days, after she went away, they cried, and we could hear them whimpering, but at night, we could hear them playing.
It's like the ferrets.
Right? My sister would go and check on them, and she said they would be playing ball, really excited, something they had never done. Another night, they would not stop barking, and I went downstairs to check on them. They live in the laundry room with the door open to the garden, but to reach the garden, they have to go down a set of stairs, which you can't see if you're on the door entering the laundry room. So when I checked on them, I saw Melody standing outside on the landing before the stairs, looking straight ahead and barking. I got spooked and just told her to go to sleep and went to my room. Later, I reflected that maybe she was seeing Pepper play floating in the air, but it could have been anything. Another day I was playing drums, and the room where I do this has no airflow and no AC. Pepper didn't like me playing drums, I guess because it's too loud for her, so I was playing and quickly started sweating and felt a cold air run through my legs. I wasn't scared. I thought of her and instantly called her name, but nothing happened. We don't believe in ghosts, but if they really exist, we would wish for her to appear on us. Appear on us. That'd
just
be fun.
for
just
cuddles.
on your lap, right? My sister says if you, with your powers of ghostly ghosting, could convince her to appear to us, your powers of ghostly ghosting, I love that, could convince her to appear to us, she would very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, I think we should politely ask Pepper to put in a little appearance for your humans.
That's right. And also maybe be careful what you wish for.
Pepper sounds like a really sweet dog.
She does.
I would miss Pepper too.
Yeah, it's very sweet, but it also makes me think, like, if we use our ghostacle powers, which I don't even know what that is. It's all accidental. We don't mean for people to have more experiences.
I think we've just learned that ghosts are just as obsessed with fame.
They are the bitches. But yeah, we're not doing anything. We're just making people more open.
Well, maybe the ghosts are listening and they're like, oh, they mentioned me on a podcast.
Pepper, we're talking to you. Pepper's a good girl.
Who's a good girl? Who's the best girl?
Pepper is.
Pepper.
And I just like that dogs listening everywhere are like, they're talking about me. So you're welcome, pet owners.
That was a lovely story.
Sweet.
Thank you.
That's very sweet.
Sorry.
And I love it when we get,
sorry you lost Pepper, but it sounds like she's having a ball.
Yeah. And they were from
Mexico.
See, I don't think we've had any messages from Mexico yet.
Yeah, I think that's the first.
Hola.
So cool. Yeah.
I want to learn Spanish.
Well,
that's all I have to say about that. That's the end of my story. Okay, so
cool story.
My story is from Leah or Laya, Lia. I want to say Leah. Hiya. That's how it starts, and I like it. I've been a fan of you all for a while, and I love your podcast. Solid beginning.
So far, everyone's saying the right things.
I am on board. Okay. The combination of haunting history and the stories from other people is perfect. So I've got this little thing that maybe you guys might be able to help me explain away or just confirm that I'm not crazy. The doctors have been called in again.
let us tap into our ghostly ghosting powers.
That's right. Also, apologies for the super long email, and I'm shit at writing emails, so sorry for that too. Generally, when people write that, it's just not the
I'm already
accurate.
seeing where some of the length is coming from.
The first full page is just compliments. It's great. Flattery will get you
Don't
everywhere.
worry, you're doing everything right.
That's right. Anyways, while I do believe in spirits and ghosts, I don't believe that my house in particular is haunted. However, I do live in an old Victorian house that's over 100 years old, so who knows? I'm a freshman in college, and so as both my parents work and my younger sister is in school all day, I spend a lot of my time at home by myself. Even before that, since I was about 14, I've spent summers at my home by myself. My house is old, so it has creaks and groans, as all old houses do. But there are some things I can't quite chalk up to an old house just being old. As I said, I've spent a lot of time by myself at home, and ever since I was 14, I've heard strange things, but only when I'm at home by myself, so I don't have anyone to tell me I'm either hearing things or something else is actually happening. One of the biggest things is the sound of footsteps walking through my kitchen.
Footsteps. They're
And
very popular with the ghosts.
it always starts with footsteps, Leah. Sorry, that's not helpful, and I apologize.
Your bedside manner is wanting.
I know. I'm going to work on it. I'm a new doctor, so I'm new to ghost doctors.
Still earning your residency.
That's right. I'm still at the part where you're like, oh, this ghost is definitely dead. I got no heartbeat. So, okay. The floorboard. There's okay.
Sorry, could have saved him if only been 100 years ago.
Boom, boom, boom. Footsteps.
Boom, boom, boom.
Walking in the kitchen, and the creak of the floorboards between the kitchen and the dining room, which can only happen if someone steps on it. That I hear almost every time that I'm home by myself, but only if I'm not in those rooms. Sounds to me, we got a snacky ghost. Someone just wants a treat.
I'm just gonna go have a Triscuit.
That's just a little Triscuit.
Triscuit.
They were allergic to wheat in their life, so right now they just really want all of the bread. This comes from a deep personal place, that comment. Sorry. I don't know.
Ghosts really crave carbs.
That's right. You said Triscuit and I got distracted. Okay. So, I will also hear the sound of dishes falling off of their stacks and shelves in the kitchen.
No.
But when I go check, nothing has fallen over and everything is in its place. I mean, that's better than the alternative.
Yeah, but it's pretty common. Like
to hear
that's a pretty common poltergeist.
It's tricky
thing
sounds.
of hearing sounds that there's then like no evidence that anything happened.
Yeah, much worse to hear sounds and then go in and have to buy new dishes.
Yeah. Right.
That's silver linings.
Silver lining. Or, you don't want to find dishes that are broken and not have been warned by a sound. I mean, like, it could have been the exact inverse of the problem you're experiencing.
That's definitely worse. Never even considered it. Fuck that.
Right?
I hate that.
Sorry.
But
that's not what's happening.
No, it's the opposite. Thank God. Leah, right now we're really supportive of this happening because of the options. Okay, but the most recent thing that legitimately I have no way to explain happened only a few days ago. I had come home after classes and was sitting at my desk, which faces the window in my dining room, so that my back is to the rest of the house. You all right?
Excuse me. I just
the vodka barking back a little bit.
Yeah. That mule's kicking. God, if that was such an amateur drinking move, I was like, like a cartoon character. Did you see the bubbles on my head? Did you see the bubbles just rise from my head?
You floated for like 3 whole seconds. It was amazing.
I have to burp so I can find the chair again.
No, don't do that. Your mic placement will be all off.
I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm really fucking the atmosphere of this story.
This is a great story, and you're only adding to the atmosphere. As usual, I was working on something while listening to music when all of a sudden... So, okay, let's set the scene again. Alone in the house, sitting at a desk, back is to the rest of the house.
Okay.
Facing a wall or a window, I guess. Entire back... You have no idea what's going on because it's facing the rest of the house. This is not what military man who came back from World War II would have approved of.
There's a lot to have at your back.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Working on something while listening to music. So also now you can't hear anything because you're listening to music. Your sensories.
You're a sitting duck. You're a sitting duck.
Yes. Okay. Then all of a sudden I hear these weird noises coming from my living room. I guess that's over the music. Interesting.
Yeah.
Which is sort of through an archway behind me and to the left. It sounds like someone was coughing. And I'm talking about that horrible hacking cough that you get when you have shit left over in your lungs from a cold. I'm imagining a smoker's cough. That's what I'm imagining right now.
It's just the house settling.
Houses,
they
cough.
Creak, they make noise. Houses cough. It's a well-known fact.
Yeah, sure.
Houses have terrible upper respiratory systems.
Except, she goes on to say, I have never heard that noise without knowing there's a body attached to it before.
Oh.
So you can probably understand how freaked out I was. Yup. For a moment, I thought my mom had just come home early, but I hadn't heard. If that's the case, and you expect your mom to cough like that, get her to a doctor.
Yeah.
So she thought her mom had come home early, but she hadn't heard her keys in the door, and she always calls out to see if anyone is home when she arrives. Makes you wonder why. Right? Why do you call out? Anybody home?
Mom?
Is it just the ghosts?
I think you've got some explaining to do.
Actually, that's a pretty natural thing. I don't want to be turned around a corner and have someone scare me.
Okay, but if someone that's going to
Jean-Luc did that to me the other day, and I screamed in his face.
But what does asking if anyone's there do? If someone wants to scare you, they're not going to answer.
Well, but no, I mean,
if they want to murder you, they're not going to answer.
He didn't scare me on purpose. I was upstairs doing something. I knew he was coming over, and he just came in.
Oh, I see.
And I came downstairs, and he walked out of the kitchen, and I shit myself a little bit. It was terrifying.
I've never walked into a house or an apartment and asked if anyone was there. I'm just trying to go through my list of things I've done in my life, and I've never done that.
I normally, though, I listen to see if I can hear people.
Yeah, I guess I've only ever asked, like, hello or something like that if I hear someone and I don't think someone should be there.
Right.
Like, if I've come home and like, in the middle of the day and Brandon's home, which is unusual because he works, and I'd be like, and if I hear something, I'd be like, babe?
Devil?
Ghost? Pepper?
Or more often than not, it's to let someone know that you are there. So that, like, what happened with Luke, which apparently he did call out, I just didn't hear him. But, so that they're not afraid when they see you. They don't get scared. They know that somebody's in the house.
That makes sense.
Anyway, Maybe that's what she was doing. I don't know. I'm suspicious about everything. Yeah, our mom does
It's very interesting. It's given that the house has clearly got some stuff going on, I wonder if Mom has experienced some stuff.
Maybe have a little conversation. The noise went on for a few minutes, then stopped, then started up again. This cycle of bursting coughs continued for about 15 minutes before it stopped completely, just as I heard the sound of the mailman walking up our front steps. That cough, combined with a feeling of being watched, which I've always attributed to my imagination, creeped me out so much that I refused to get up or turn around until I heard my mom come home a few hours later, 'cause fuck that. Interesting that not turning around was easier. It's like hiding under the blanket, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hide under here. I'm going to hide looking at this wall and my computer.
Well, it's like you don't want to acknowledge and the ghost is clearly behind you going, like that. So it's like make them work for it. If they want my attention, they can tap on my shoulder,
in the shoulder,
or they
tap,
or they can wrench me out of the chair. No, that's bad. I don't.
What if you're on a spinny chair? Maybe they could just spin the chair around. Can you imagine?
I can. I don't like it.
We are giving so many ghosts ideas right now. Remember
so
that
sorry.
and credit us.
This person is coming to us for comfort, and we're fucking it up. We're so sorry.
So what do you all think? We think it's hilarious, apparently. What do y'all think? Have I got a creepily sick spirit that likes messing with my dishes and stepping on my creaky floorboards, or am I just crazy?
Maybe.
I think something's trying to get your attention.
The cough, definitely. I mean, the cough. Everything else, like the footsteps, old houses, sometimes maybe, I know you hear the floorboards and in the
wind
kitchen.
Hits right and shifts.
But it's sometimes too, like a car could go by outside and it could rattle the foundation in such a way that it can just resonate and the boards can pop. I mean, it can happen. It's odd that it happens that regularly, but those things are explainable more or less. They're not saying that that's what they are, but they could be that.
Right.
But
you just might be more aware of it.
Someone cough that's not there, I have no explanation for that. So, I'd say your house has some weird shit going on.
Yeah, it sounds like something's trying to get your attention.
Or maybe she's just hearing the remnants of someone who died of pneumonia or tuberculosis or something. I mean...
Well, I would think that...
If the house is Victorian, that was a very popular illness back then.
I would think that though she's lived there for so long, since she was 14, and now she's in college, I would think she would have heard it before, because she's been by herself before. I would think that kind of residual thing would stay.
Well, but consider that maybe residual things can only be experienced by people that have reached a certain like maybe it's the ability to receive that kind of information. It like only emerges when you're a certain age, or for different time. Maybe it's triggered by something different. Like maybe it is residual, and for whatever reason now, as she's gotten older, she can hear it where she couldn't when she was younger. Or maybe when she was younger, maybe she was never in a position to hear it and know that it was out of place.
Right.
Like if she was little in the house, she probably wouldn't have been by herself. So if she heard a cough, she would probably, if like a bunch of people are in the house, everyone just assumes it's someone else coughing. Mm-hmm. So who knows? I mean, I wonder, and maybe she has experienced stuff and blocked it out. I don't know. But I don't know what it is, but all I'm saying is the cough definitely points to like, that ain't the house settling.
Right. What I would do, because that's a long time, 15 minutes to hear the same cough over and over again.
Yeah.
Maybe the mailman was just having a coughing fit outside before he came and delivered the mail. I don't know. But what you might do is just start recording if that starts to happen again. Like turn voice recorder on your phone and just start recording and see what you get. The feeling of being watched is tricky, because if everybody just right now was like, I feel like I'm being watched.
Yeah, I can imagine
within
right now.
10 seconds, you feel like you're being watched. Mm-hmm. So any kind of creeped out sort of thing, you have to ask yourself, it's like the chicken and the egg, right? So does the feeling of being watched come first? Or are you creeped out first, and then you feel like you're being watched? And you attribute
it to being watched when you just could,
when it's not. Because instincts are a very powerful thing, and you should absolutely listen to your instincts. So if you feel unsafe someone's watching me, I've got to turn around and watch. Like, if that is happening and you become afraid because of that feeling, that's different.
Well, and that feeling could mean any number of things, and it could be that your imagination has made it about someone watching you, but for whatever reason, you're uncomfortable.
Right.
Your body's responding to presumably some stimulus. It may not be someone watching you, but something is making your body feel unsafe, and you should leave.
What you could do, too, is what Michael always tells me to do, is to talk to it.
Yeah. I think so. I try to think like a ghost, if one can do that.
If a ghost thought like you thought when you're trying to think like a ghost.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And I just think to myself, like, if, the minute, like, let's say there's a child in the house, and the child is trying to scare you. Well, the best way to get the child to not do it is to be like, hey, I see you, I hear you, and then it's like, oh, okay, whatever, right. And then the child will change tactics. And sometimes a ghost, just maybe you have to consider if it's a conscious entity, if that's what it is. I'm not saying I know one way or the other, but if that's what it is, then sometimes just human contact will be enough to make it. It's not necessarily the odds of it wanting to scare you are pretty slim. They may not even be aware that you're there.
It's true.
You could be the ghost to it.
Yeah. I mean, I've said if there's weird stuff that's happened, I've always said, okay, I get it. You're here. Haha. Trying to do something else. And then that usually, try it, see if it stops.
If nothing else, it kind of puts you, like, it does ease your mind a little bit because then you're like, at least, okay, well, I'm talking to it. And so the line of communication is open now.
Right.
And that helps me if I'm feeling uneasy.
Yeah, I think ultimately we don't know. There's still some more. Okay, just a little bit more.
Oh, God, okay, more.
I also thought you guys might be interested in the few hauntings that are rumored to happen around my school. There are 2 that I know of. I go to USC, University of Southern California. Supposedly, the 7th floor of one of the residence halls, Party Tower, Pardee. Maybe it's Pardee, but I love that it's Party Tower.
Party Tower.
Is haunted by a young girl who died mysteriously in her dorm room. She partied. No one really knows what she's supposed to do, but she's been seen by a few students on that floor. The top floor of the USC Coliseum is also haunted. In the 1960s, a man fell to his death from the top floor. People report seeing his ghost wander around as the games come to a close and the sound of bones crunching.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good. So those are my stories. I hope you find them at least mildly interesting. We do. Thank you for the amazing podcast. Kalia or Leah. Yeah, okay, I was right.
You are welcome.
P.S.
Thank you.
Jamie, your computer that dings mid-podcast always makes me laugh, and every time without fail I catch myself looking down at my own phone expecting to see a notification before realizing what happened. And Michael, I remember you talking about Frank Lloyd Wright in episode 21, I think, and wondered if you had ever been to see his house and studio in Chicago. My father and I went last year, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. If you haven't gone yet, you definitely should.
Oh, I have been, and it is amazing. Yeah. Oh, God almighty. It's so great.
So that's Leah's.
That's awesome. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so this is from Peter. Peter says, hi, I have a reply.
Ooh.
He probably doesn't sound like that. First, why did hearing you read my story about the lake feel like coming clean to my parents about doing something bad? I don't know. I'm not your father. I promise we never went into the house. We only used the dock, and we made sure not to leave a mess. Okay, I don't know why you're telling me this. I don't care.
You might have been a little judgmental.
Yeah. Was I judgmental?
Well, that's the one with the dock, and they were playing, and they were swimming, and they looked over, and somebody was peeking out of the trailer window.
Oh, yeah. Was I an old man about that? Was it like fucking kids on the lawn? Like, was I? I might have been.
You might have been.
I might have been. I'm sorry, Peter. I didn't mean to judge you because you were doing something I would have done as a kid, too.
Yeah, slashing it all, let's be real.
So about my friend. I grew up in the Bible Belt, and I am a trans guy, so I didn't really have any friends when I met Elizabeth. She was the first person to accept me completely, so I was willing to look past her boisterousness and rule-breaking to have a friend I could be myself with. I completely understand that. We were
Hi, my name
close.
Is Jamie.
We were super close for years, and I soon began to realize her friendship came with something else. I had an experience with something in the past, but until I met Elizabeth, I hadn't really experienced anything dark. We often spent the night at her grandmother's house, and I would see shadows in the corners of certain rooms, or what looked like a reflection of someone walking by in the glass doors downstairs, when there was no one in the room but me. I decided to mention it, and she told me they sometimes saw a woman in the house, and didn't say much else. This was about 2 years before the lake. I never actually saw the woman myself, though. I consider these two things separate experiences, but my grandmother thinks they're connected, and I thought I should share her thoughts. My gran has always encouraged my sensitivity, good on her, so long as I always make sure to never do anything that would invite in something dark.
Great.
Also good
That
on
sounds
your
like
gran.
my mother.
Elizabeth, on the other hand, owned a Ouija board and liked to use it frequently.
Oh.
She also tried to get a group of our friends to hold seances together once, to hold a seance together once in her grandparents' attic at 3 a.m. Oh, the real witching hour.
Fuck
Thankfully,
all of that. Hashtag
yeah, right.
fuck
That's
all of that.
Elizabeth is bold. Thankfully, we all chickened out, including her. Maybe she's not so bold. My grandmother believed she invited something into her life by doing these things. Something being the woman. She wouldn't talk to me about what happened at the lake, and being pretty shaken up myself, I let it go, and we've never talked about it since. She ended up moving out of state a few years later, and we drifted apart, but I do know that not long after our shared experience, she began to keep her distance from the paranormal.
Spooky things started happening to Elizabeth.
I am so sorry, Peter, that I judged you for the lake.
If you judged him, I don't even know if you did.
I should have judged Elizabeth.
It's all Elizabeth's fault. We see that now, Peter. We see that now.
That's a good story, though. But that's I like the element of seeing someone reflected in the glass. That just I can picture it vividly.
Of course. Oh, it's so creepy.
Oh gosh,
man. Thanks. I love
and we all have that friend.
That's such a good
that friend
too.
that like is like a little too much. But they bring us out of our shell.
That's right.
Because they do anything in the world for us, and we're like, it's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We definitely have a person. Several.
If you and I had known each other much earlier in life, I'm not so sure that I could have handled you.
No,
because I was much
shyer.
I was much shyer.
No, I was much shyer.
Oh, well, maybe we would have gotten.
We would have been
fine.
perfect
if you were if you were as bold as you are now, and you met me as timid as I was then, you would have terrified the fuck out of me, and I'd be like, I can't be near the red-headed woman. She scares me.
Well, I was blonde back then. It would have been fine.
I can't be near the blonde. Well, blonde and shy. Okay, so we would have been. Never mind. We would have been great friends.
Yeah, we would have. I wasn't shy. Like, I was still an extrovert, but I wasn't as confident.
Did you ever find yourself
I cared more about what other people thought? That's gone.
I was always the mother.
Gone.
I was always the mother hen, and
right.
I didn't so much care what people thought of me. I mean, I did to an extent, but it wasn't like the ruling passion. I cared whether people were okay. Like, I was the guy that were like, are you okay? Can I do this? And I get that very much from my mother. My mother's always like, is everyone fine? Does everyone have a drink? Is everyone, what this? My she's a sheepdog. Right. And I'm kind of the same way. But I mean, when it's funny because among my group of friends, because I was also tall. I was the tallest kid of anyone I knew. And because I was always I was kind of militant in my mother hen-ish. Right. I'd be like, no, you need to stop that. That's whatever. And so all my friends tended to cast me in the role of the hero or the leader of the group, and I was not a leader. I shouldn't be a leader. I'm not. That's not who I am. But my friends were like, well, you're the one that's always thinking about the worst case scenario, so you're the strategist. You should be. I'm like, no, I don't want to be the leader. Stop. It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, with me, the incorrect thought of a lot, some of my closest friends, was that I was innocent and... Finish drinking your drink or you're going to spit it. Chew that ice. They thought that I would judge them for having sex before they got married.
That's hysterical.
I know. I had no idea why they thought that. I wasn't even don't have sex till you're married. It was we went to church a lot and they always said that shit. But I was also super... pro women's rights, and they were not.
Because of my height and because of my build, people tend to think now that I'm like a bear, that I'm just mean, or God will be like, fuck you, and just taking one. And I'm the biggest cat.
No,
I'm a kitten. That's you.
Now
I'm a kitten. I'm a complete kitten.
Oh my God, I was doing this ghost tour in Richmond last weekend. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. And Amy, our listener Amy, came with us. It was super, super fun. And Alex. He was my liaison. Eat your heart out. It was amazing.
Oh, I love Alex. Alex,
we had such a good time. And we were crossing the street at one point, and some people, like Brad with Color World, who does our shirts and stuff, he had started to go, and then he came back because we kind of split up because some people were talking on one side, and they crossed the street, and there was a car there. Nobody's in the street, and he rolls his window down and like starts yelling to get off the phone and cross the street or not. And I cannot abide unnecessary rudeness.
Yeah.
So I just shout at him in the middle of the street. I was like, fucking go, dude. There's nobody in front of you. What's your fucking problem? And he goes and he turns the corner. And he was like, oh, it was just a joke. I was like, okay, thanks, bye. It was really funny. And everybody's like, where did that come from, Jamie? I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't like it when people are rude.
Awesome. I just want to quickly paint a picture of what would have happened had I been there. And this
he would have walked away.
No, I wouldn't have. I'd have been right there, and like you would have been like, just fucking go, dude. There's no one in the fucking street, blah 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 blah. And I'd be like, Jamie, shut the fuck in. And turn to the guy, yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, fuck, keep walking. Yeah. Shut up, Jim. Just go. You're fucking that. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, I just gestured wildly from the side of the road, just like, what the fuck? It was such a rude thing. Anyway, Amy and Alex know what I'm talking about. It was amazing, but we had such a good time. It was really good, like kind of our own group of people, and it was with
those are the best way to do a ghost
Haunted
tour.
Richmond, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Such good tours, and I have 3 or 4 different tours in Richmond, and we did the Churchill one. Fantastic. One of my next topics is going to be over something that they covered there.
Oh, yes.
I'm really excited about it. But we also talked a lot about Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Who was like a great uncle of mine.
Which blows my fucking mind. I did not know this about you until you told me this.
I don't know. He's much removed, but uncle.
But still, there's just a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe.
There's a little Edgar Allan Poe, and there's a little Dolly Parton, and I think that sums me up.
Yes!
In a
nutshell. It does.
That's me. So it's just really crazy to be on this tour that's talking about this person that, like, I know, I mean, he's famous, I know, but, like, it's like, oh,
Islands
that's like...
in the Stream does sound like a poem.
It does.
Edgar Allan Poe,
that
like
is
the
what
title
we are.
Yeah.
Islands in the Stream. That's
fucking great. I love it. What a great braiding
and
together.
Jolene,
awesome.
Is that not an Edgar Allan Poe name? If I've ever heard one, Jolene. I mean,
yes.
Anyway,
I love it.
So also really quickly, I mean, we're going long, just chatting, but I wanted to say that we are very sorry about missing the last podcast.
It was a fucking crazy couple of days here.
It's true. And we've been doing a ton of conventions. So I think we both only had like 2 or 3 days in town. And the one day we almost always record is Wednesdays. And so we were set to record. One of us was leaving the next day. There was no way to do anything but Wednesday. Everything's fine. We usually have no problem recording on Wednesday. And, up at the studios, Funimation Studios, a tornado touched down not too far away.
I saw it. I was driving toward the studio at the time for my session.
Yeah.
And it was like,
maybe I should not.
This is how fucking first world problems. My first thought as I'm seeing the tornado, like I'm seeing, it hadn't touched down yet, but I was seeing the rotation, and I was like, oh, that's what they call that. There's a turning booger. And as some people from my hometown might call it.
Yeah.
And there's a turning booger. And rather than be afraid, I was like, oh fuck, I guess I can't stop for coffee now before my session. And I wound up like driving through it to the studio, because I was like, well, I might as well just go to the studio where there's shelter.
Yeah, it's safer there than
so I was like calling people in the studio. I'm like, are you guys hunkered down, or can you let me in? I don't want to die in my car in the parking lot of the studio.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a fucking adventure.
Yeah. It's a very safe, because the studios are in the center of the building, and they're concrete like all the way around them a couple of times because of the soundproofing.
Hefty doors.
Yeah, they're anchored to the ground, so it is probably the safest place to be in Dallas, really. But or the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I should say. So after that, with traffic, and there were more storms coming in, and we had a tornado watch.
Power was out all over town.
We just decided to be safe and call it. So we are very sorry that we missed last week, but we're very happy that nobody was hurt and everything was okay.
Thanks for bearing with us.
But we appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys so much. Do the things. Go to the website, bowlintentions.com. Send us your stories. If you have any stories too about the USC and any of that shit, send it. Yeah. But other than that, I guess remember, it's okay to sleep with the lights on. The vodka helps significantly as well.
Spirits need spirits.
Spirits need spirits. These are for you, spirits.